All my life I've been told to be careful about walking alone at night and to make sure I was actually never really alone while walking alone at night. Um, but working at McDonald's during the summer, I tend to work more closing shifts, and as a result, I would end up leaving after 1 in the morning on a good night. During the summer, McDonald's gets some very interesting and diverse customers, and walking alone to my car, there were only a few things that made me feel more safe and secure, and that was the fact that the parking lot was well lit, and so I could see everything around me, and that I was always working with 3 other people, and we generally left at the same time. However, I do know that not many women experience that sense of security when walking alone at night, and my sister is an example of one of those unlucky ones. She attended Boise State University a few years back and constantly used the Greenbelt to get to her classes and to her car after class. And her classes tended to be later at night to accommodate her work schedule. She mentioned how anxious she felt walking to her car after class due to the lack of lighting and lack of security on the Greenbelt. She said it was especially nerve-wracking during the winter because of all the ice, which made it harder to run away or defend herself with her taser or pepper spray if needed. And although she had tools to aid in her defense, she said she knew that without them she would feel less confident about taking her attacker head on. Which is why I believe that college campuses should offer classes on self-defense to women to better protect themselves. As a woman, having the opportunity to learn to defend myself on campus would be greatly beneficial. It would help accommodate with my work schedule, and it wouldn't cost nearly as much money or time outside of class or work. And through this, I want to talk about what rape culture is and some of its defining factors. I want to talk about the statistics about rape and sexual violence. And lastly, I will talk about the benefits of learning self-defense. And through this, I hope people will get a better understanding of rape culture, how it has continued, and how we can change it in the future. Did you see what she was wearing? Rape culture is permeated with thoughts that focus on the victim instead of the crime itself and the person who committed the crime. And according to Southern Connecticut State University, rape culture is an environment in which rape is prevalent and in which sexual violence is normalized and excused in the media and popular culture. So saying statements like, "Did you see what she was wearing?" excuses the behavior of the assailant because you state that the victim was too good to pass up, and you can't possibly blame the assailant for doing what they had done. And other things like making sexual jokes or blaming the victim, even thinking that men can't get raped or only weak men get raped, are examples of rape culture. And our culture has become riddled with these things, and as a result, it perpetuates more crimes and it shames victims into silence. Now that we've laid out some of the facts of rape culture, let's get into the statistics. Based on the statistics, it is clear that rape is infused with our culture. According to RAINN, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, every 98 seconds an American is sexually assaulted. In that 98 seconds, 1 in 5 women are raped, and it happens more on college campuses than anywhere else. Even the number with the male population increases from 1 in 71 men to 1 in 16. And on college campuses, women 18 to 24 are 3 times more likely to be raped, attempted, or completed than women aged 18 to 34 that are not on college campuses. And sadly, 63% of the rapes in the country go unreported, and sadly, and even more sadly, on college campuses, 63% jumps to over 90% of rapes going unreported by victims. That shows how afraid women are of stepping forward, either because they might lose their scholarship, they might get kicked out, or they'll be ridiculed by their classmates. However, we can combat the statistics. Teaching self-defense on college campus can greatly reduce the numbers of rape on college campuses. According to a study done by the University of Oregon, that taught women self-defense on campus showed many positive results from the group that went untaught. The group that learned had lower rates of unwanted sexual contact, sexual coercion, attempted rape, and they had no counts of completed rape. And women that didn't learn had higher rates in all of the above. So the women that took the classes also told stories of how they became more assertive and felt more confident about stopping a situation before it got out of hand. For example, one that comes to mind was one lady went to a bar and a guy started touching her, and she said before she normally wouldn't even look him in the eye and very quietly and meekly would tell him to back off, but she looked him in the eye and told him, "Don't touch me, I don't know you, I don't want you talking to me, I don't want you touching me," and she was left alone for the rest of the night. And even men can help in combating rape culture and not just teaching women self-defense, but also, according to Zarin Burnett from the Huffington Post, he listed multiple ways for men to help combat rape culture, which is including speaking out against jokes that trivialize rape. So telling a friend that his joke about rape was inappropriate, not objectifying women, and being respectful of other people's personal space. And if you're in a relationship, don't assume that there's consent for everything. And lastly, defining your own version of what manhood and womanhood is, instead of going with what popular culture says it is, which is women being meek and sexual and men being dominant. Moving into the future, learning how to defend ourselves on college campuses can be greatly beneficial, and so college campuses should offer courses on self-defense for women. And hopefully this helps people get a better understanding of what rape culture is and how it's continued and how we can change it going into the future instead of blaming the victim over the perpetrator. And I want to leave you guys with this last bit, which is rape culture doesn't have to define who we are going to be as a generation, and the first steps are teaching women how to handle themselves before a situation gets out of control, and teaching men to respect women and our personal space, our boundaries, our comfort zone, and all of that stuff.